is up, friends? Thank you so much for tuning back into my channel. So I'm going to be getting ready in a bit. And mommy bought me the best fries ever. McDonald's cheesy bacon fries. Okay, it looks like these. Looks pretty yummy. That's actually better than I expected. McDonald's fries just overall are better. I'll rate it an 8 out of 10. Yes, I look bummy right now. We're gonna transform myself into something not bummy. So yeah. So as you could probably tell from the title of this video, today I am going to be testing out on half of my face the Tatcha Primer, the Silk Canvas, and the ELF Poreless Putty Primer in Universal Sheer. I have combination skin. I have an oily T-zone and somewhat of a dry, well, right now I have like a semi-dry forehead and stuff, but for the most part I am pretty oily, so I wanted to test these two out right now. And yeah, so let's get started. I'm actually getting ready because I'm gonna go testify in a judicial committee for a bill that my friend is working on, and I'm just gonna go testify and help out with that. So you know, I gotta look somewhat decent. I'll link it down in the description below, supposedly what this does and what this does, so that I can just skip over and get started to not make this video too long. Alrighty, so let's open up this. And I broke it. This little dude, oh my gosh, I had to go to like 5 Sephora's in my area to find it. Like, everybody has been selling out of this. Target, ULTA, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, you name it, everybody's been buying it. This is not a bad size at all, and like I said, it's like in the color sheer. I think it only comes in one color. So right off the bat, this is what the product looks like. It's a very light pink. So when I'm touching it, kind of feels like a balm. Make sure to do this with a clean hand, obviously. Kind of going to like dip into it because the product itself is not the easiest to take out if you're just massaging it. Yay! Okay, let's put this on. I'm gonna place this primer on my right side, and which I think will be your left or something, and then I'll place the Tatcha primer on my left side. So I'm gonna get closer here so that you can really tell how big my pores are and everything. Sorry, I'm like super zoomed in. I have a lot of discoloration and like large pores here, so you can tell some hyperpigmentation. Is this a pimple? Some hyperpigmentation and all that jazz. So right side is gonna be ELF. Oh! Alright, you guys, so I'm doing a zoom in so that you can see. So the primer did really help in shearing out a little bit my pores here. They are, well, the illusion is that they're smaller, so take a look for yourself. So now I'm gonna take the Tatcha primer and I'm gonna be placing that on my right side. No, what? I'm gonna be taking that, it would be your right side and my left side. Okay, so let's do this. Same consistency, kind of that white cast that the ELF one gave, so I'm just picking up a chunk of it like this, and like I said, my pores are pretty large, so we shall see how this one does. Oh. The Tatcha primer isn't really filling in my pores as well as the ELF one is. Wow. Right. That was just one layer, as you could tell. So I'm gonna add another one and pat it in a little bit more. I mean, it kind of filled it in, but not as well as the ELF one. Wow. The Tatcha one is smelling a little bit more luxurious. You definitely have like a lighter floral scent to it. So if you can kind of tell like the little white balls, just a little bit, but you can definitely brush that off once you're placing your foundation on. As you can tell, I'm looking here at the viewfinder, I do have like a subtle white cast that both of them have left on me, so there's that. In terms of filling in my pores, I believe the ELF one did much better than the Tatcha one. Look for yourself here. the ELF one did a lot better in terms of filling in my pores, whereas the Tatcha one was like, okay, didn't really notice a huge difference in it. So I would much rather get the ELF one for $8. Already I could tell right off the bat that it's gonna be much better in filling in pores and such. And if that's, I'm gonna go and do other things and such. I'm gonna go to that meeting, and yeah, so I will let you guys know what happens exactly with my face. Oh, okay. So left side is Tatcha, right side is ELF. Alrighty guys, I'll be back. Alright you guys, so this is day 2 of me trying the ELF Primer Putty on my face below my foundation. Duh. So I've been wearing the same foundation that I usually do. I usually wear the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop foundation, and usually that does the trick for me. I don't feel it. It's just my perfect foundation and it matches me well and everything. But something that I did notice with the ELF Primer Putty below this foundation, and it could be just the match of the foundation and the primer. I'm gonna have to try a different foundation, but I find that it's not the best combo. Like, looking at the viewfinder, you can't really tell I'm like super oily, but on my skin I can definitely feel that I'm oily. So I do not like that feeling, and I usually don't have that issue with other primers. So I don't know if it's maybe the foundation in combination with the ELF Primer Putty or what have you, but I also tried switching it up in regards to the translucent powders. So today, after I applied my foundation and the primer putty, I applied the Airspun translucent powder, whereas yesterday I didn't use it on top of my foundation, and so I noticed that it did last longer today in terms of longevity, and like I didn't feel that oiliness, the heaviness of it all until like further in the night. I feel like yesterday, since I didn't put on translucent powder, I definitely felt it more sooner than today when I applied the Airspun translucent powder. So I would highly suggest that you use a translucent powder if you suffer from oiliness. So that's my tip on this. But other than that, I do prefer the ELF Primer Putty over the Tatcha Primer because of the price point, and because I feel like the ELF one actually did a better job at kind of like diminishing my pores, kind of like blurring them out, whereas the Tatcha one just kind of like sat there and it felt just like any other primer that doesn't really prime, to be honest. But it did smell nice and all that, I'll give you that. But for the price point, I definitely feel like the ELF one is way better. Just bear in mind what I'm telling you, that some of the factors might be as to why I feel like the oiliness and such, so it's not to bash it like the ELF Primer Putty, but that's just my experience as of now. Hey guys, so upon further revision, I did notice that foundation is sitting on top of my face, and it is pretty noticeable. Like, I'll try to zoom in. I'm not sure if the camera is like fully capturing it all, but it does look like pretty bad. But I will give it that it's been on my face for more than 12 hours, which is a substantial amount of time. Unless you're working like all day, like, you know, it will last a long time. I feel like there are things that you could obviously do to elongate the longevity of it. Like, you can certainly blot, which I didn't do. You can go over it again with some translucent powder, which I didn't do because I was trying to test out the fullness of the ELF Primer Putty in combination with my foundation. So changing up some elements definitely might change the outcome of it all. So let me know what you have done to like lengthen the longevity of it so that it looks good and such. I am happy with, you know, not being as oily as I usually get, but I did notice that. Yeah, so that is my review, and there will be a part 2 of me trying it with like other types of like foundations and such. So stay tuned, and please make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Okay, bye.